All right, welcome to the Experience Better video podcast series. I'm here with John Holling, a physical therapist at the Balance Mobility Center. I'm Josh Beekler, a physical therapist in Kearney, and today we are going to talk about balance. So balance is kind of a unique thing that we look at a lot. With most body systems, like whether it's your muscles or your bones, you can tie muscles to strength. You can tie bones, to breaking them and the rehab that goes along with that. However, balance, it's made up of a lot of different things. So, what are a couple of those things that balance is made up of?
Well, basically 3 to 4 components make up the balance that you have during a day. You got your eyesight, and we're visual animals. So that is a huge component of balance and how we see. That's why when people start to lose their balance, they start walking with their eyes down and looking at the ground. You also have your inner ear. That's where your main system is that affects when you have vertigo and spinning and stuff like that, because you have 3 semicircular canals that have fluid in it that tell you if you're upright, laying on your left side, lying down, face down, everything like that. And then basically you have your feet, which gives you a sensation, tactile feedback from the ground, and your joints have proprioceptive receptors in there that's telling you, is your knee bent, or am I standing on hard ground, soft ground, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So when people often ask about what proprioception is, and the best way sometimes I can give an example of that is it's Charlie Brown. So Charlie Brown has terrible proprioception. So like John said, proprioception kind of lets you know where your body is in space. And as we all know, so Charlie Brown goes to kick the football, Lucy pulls it out from under him, so your proprioception would allow you to stop, and even after you would kick, it would allow you to stop yourself from falling over and doing 3 cartwheels and 3 and 2 backflips after your momentum has carried you through that kick. Your proprioception would actually allow you to slow down your movement system, catch yourself on your feet, and not do what Charlie Brown does. So I always tell people that Charlie Brown, terrible proprioception. So we talked about all the different systems, one of which also is your strength. Your strength is also a component of your balance, but so if any single one of those systems goes haywire, it can really impact somebody's balance. And so then you start looking at people who are falling at home, bumping into things, and then people get afraid to even go out, and then it becomes almost this self-fulfilling circle of, well, I don't want to move because I'm going to fall, and so then I get weak, and then other things happen. My other body systems start to fail. So it's just your balance can really have an impact on your world, on your life. It makes your world small. It makes you not want to get out and do things. And as we know, as people age and as people move on with life, getting out and going and moving and being active is a really critical thing. So like when John talked about whether it's your strength, your vision, your inner ear issues, the sensation or proprioception, any one of those systems could be affected. And an excellent healthcare provider to identify which of those systems is going haywire would be a physical therapist. So there's a lot of different tests and a lot of different things where we can narrow down and pinpoint exactly what is the issue, and then design interventions and those kinds of things. So what kind of interventions would we do with a patient who might have different balance issues?
Well, it again, through the evaluation, we'll define what part of your body is malfunctioning, for lack of a better term. If it's the inner ear, we do a lot of head movements while walking to make that fluid move through those semicircular canals and stress that system. If it's proprioception in your feet, then we work a lot on uneven surfaces to challenge that system. And if it's if your visual component, which most age people do have a visual component because that's a natural aging process. We wear glasses. Trifocals can put things into and out of focus, making things more difficult to navigate. So there's some visual components that we can do as well. But the main thing is balance is a huge thing with confidence, and being able to practice things in a controlled environment that's safe without falling, and building people's confidence that allows them to go home and do more activities, which then continues to improve balance.
Right. Make their world bigger and keep doing things. So So we do all these things. We have therapists who are specialized in balance here in Grand Island, in Kearney, and in Lincoln as well. So if you or a loved one, if you notice any of those types of balance issues where you're having maybe an increase in falls, or you're just not as confident, you don't feel as sure of yourself on your feet, there's definitely hope for you, and there's definitely a healthcare provider out there that can help you, and those being physical therapists. So thanks for coming by today, John, to talk to me about balance. And now we're gonna go into our little story time mode, where we get to make fun of our friends, family, and others. So I'll go first. So I don't know. My wife is the worst cook, and when people joke about she could burn water, she can burn water all the time. So and this is public service announcement, America. When you're going to boil water and you're going to put it on high, stick around, pay attention, because what's going to happen is the water's going to boil over. Now you got Mount Vesuvius erupting out of your pan, and then you got a mess on your countertop and on your oven. But my wife is notorious for setting it on high and going to do something else, and before you know it, you hear that and it's a disaster. It drives me crazy. So America, if you're going to put your water on high, pay attention to it. You got one for us?
Well, my public service announcement would be, if you're going to take your kids to church, make sure they don't lock their knees out. I'm probably the only parent that has had 2 kids go down in church on the same day within 30 seconds of each other. My youngest was starting to wobble. I looked down at him because we were standing in church, and about the time he said, "Dad, I don't feel good," down he went. Luckily caught him. As I was picking him up, I looked at my wife, and my middle child beside her just went crashing down. So make sure that when your kids are doing a lot of standing, make sure they got their knees bent and stuff, because it was interesting, and the people behind us probably wondered what the heck was going on.
All right. Well, we learned all kinds of stuff today, John, so that's great. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.